What's going on, everybody? It is another MLS Monday from Scarves and Spikes. Tyler here alongside Sydney Hunt. Tommy is on his way. He's working on it. He'll be here momentarily. But yeah, we're gonna dive into the league here as decision day is closing in on us. Things are still a dogfight in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference is crazy. We're going to be joined by Edgar from News Across the Galaxy in a little bit. And we'll just take you guys through the entire weekend. But Sydney, what's up, man?
Not much. I'm sure Atlanta United fans are really running the high of Saturday's win against the Red Bulls. And, we'll talk about that. But obviously want to talk big picture about everything that's going on in MLS. And Tyler, like he said, East is still up for grabs. There's still 2 spots left, 4 teams that will contest them on decision day. And then West is all locked up as far as who's going through, but still some seeding things to talk about, and we'll talk about that too. A coach was sacked the other day with 1 match remaining in the regular season. Josh Wolff, of course, sacked by Austin FC, and we'll get into that a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, there's plenty going on, and this is honestly, to me, this kind of feels like the most decision day of all decision days in the past couple of seasons. Like, and maybe part of that's just being an Atlanta United fan.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Atlanta's playoff hopes haven't come down to decision day.
Right.
But Atlanta's does, and so does a handful of other teams this time. So very interesting to see.
I think the only decision day of consequence I can remember for Atlanta United is 2018 when they were at Toronto FC. I was up there actually in the stands. So they're at Toronto FC. They needed a win to clinch the Supporters Shield and just blew it against TFC. Just got played off the pitch.
And then was it 22 where it came down to the decision day match against Cincinnati and Joseph scored the goal, or was that 21?
That was his last season here. So yeah, I think it was 22. But
no, they missed the playoffs in 22.
Yeah, are you talking about getting into the playoffs? Yeah, so it might be 21 then.
I think it might have been 21. Yeah,
or something. We'll check it out. But 2018 for sure. They choked away the Shield on the last day of the season, and it turned out to be okay.
Yeah,
turned out to work out.
Worked out quite well.
Yes,
I'll take that again all day. So
yeah.
We'll dive into starting off with Atlanta. We're going to talk mostly about Atlanta on our normal show on Wednesday, as usual. But we'll dive into that. We're going to dive into Eastern Conference, handful of matches there, Western Conference.
Yes.
Of course, the Josh Wolff news. And but first, obviously, you'll go check out scarvesandspikes.com. Go get all your latest news, updates, opinions, everything else going on there. Hey, Jesus, what's up? Daniel, what's up? Go to the Patreon. Go join the Patreon, guys. We're going to be doing another watch along for the end of the season. And I will actually be in Orlando on decision day. So I will probably be joining live somewhere from Orlando for a little bit. But yeah, join the Patreon, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Get in and get a little bit of extra content, support us. It helps out a ton. It really does for all the things that we're trying to do. And yeah, go to the website, get you guys some merch, get you a hoodie. The weather's starting to get nice. Finally. So
in some parts of the country,
yeah. And we're moving past one. Prayers with everybody down in Florida as this next one comes through.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're watching in Florida, be safe.
Yes.
Whether live or after effect, please be safe. Tommy's joining us. Tommy, scooch over. There you go.
Zoom in.
We got you. Can't hear you.
My camera did an update, and I've been trying to figure it out. I'm like that old man on the internet. How do you work this damn camera? It was good in version 1.0, not 2.0.
Right.
You get the Blair Witch thing going on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so scared.
All right. Well, Tommy, you conveniently missed all the pre-stuff. So we're diving straight into Atlanta real quick before we jump into the rest of it. So
real quick.
Yes.
I'm sorry I'm delaying things. Just thank you to everybody that stopped by and said hi to me. Came over to the hotel to see us. the three of us, when we were hanging out there. We appreciate all of you. I had so much fun talking to people. I got to take the famous halftime picture with everybody, so that was cool.
Nice.
So appreciate them letting me in, letting Tina in too. I don't know why they let her in, but they let her in. So I appreciate it. And I had I totally forgot that I hopped on with you guys, but the brisket grilled cheese, great. Saying while you're reviewing the brisket grilled cheese to not get married was not a bright idea, especially when my friend Emad played it back to her and she heard all of that.
Blame it on the gummies. Blame it on the gummies.
I snuck them on a plane. I felt like I was like a James Bond villain, bringing them on there. But it was great. It was great.
I'm glad it makes you feel like a James Bond villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the Benz loud? I know we're about to get into Atlanta United, but let me just ask you guys this, because the Benz was dead on Wednesday. It was like a library. Like, you know, when you go to the library and it's really quiet everywhere, and then you just hear some people at like the other end talking. That's how I felt like the supporters group. It was quiet everywhere, but then you could hear them chanting, but everywhere else was dead. So how was the atmosphere for the season finale?
It was much better.
Yeah, I feel like it was buzzier because obviously Atlanta needed this match, right, to advance to the playoffs, or not advance to the playoffs, get the playoff hopes alive going into decision day. So I felt like that buzz was there that we didn't, get on Wednesday night. Wednesday was just kind of, there's no life. There's just very little life. And of course, Atlanta didn't do itself any favors. But yeah, it was just dead. Saturday, it kind of looked like it wouldn't fill in all the way, but it filled in pretty good. And fans, of course, were treated to a win by Atlanta United to stay alive into decision day. And, Tyler and I were just talking before you hopped on. There hasn't been really a decision day of consequence for Atlanta United in some time. I brought up 2018 when they needed just the win against TFC to win the Shield, and for lack of a better term, they choked. Worked out okay, of course, but I feel like that and one other time, Tyler, I know you're talking, was the last time, the only times that decision day has been of consequence for Atlanta United. So, yeah, there was definitely a buzz to the stadium on Saturday, and I feel like the Atlanta kind of played to that.
They tried to blow it, though. They tried to blow it many, many times. Like, it was a pretty good effort of almost trying to blow that game.
Brad was livid to give it the clean sheet. I first thought he was yelling at the referee, not Spala. Well, who's the referee that night?
I don't even remember.
Pekmich. I thought he was yelling at Pekmich, but he was yelling at Stian for conceding the goal. But other than that, and other than Tommy, the two goals that were disallowed, and Rob said, "No, we got lucky." But I'm not a big believer in luck, but I mean, you really shouldn't have won that game, to be honest with you. So, yeah,
it's not good enough going against 10 men, right? Like, take the win, and that's what everybody in the locker room said. And we're going to talk a ton about it on Wednesday, but like all the players, it wasn't lost on them that like there's some luck involved. And Rob even said it, like, I'll take some freaking luck. He said, like, all respect to Red Bulls, but they were already in the playoffs.
Like, I have nothing to apologize for.
Yeah, like we need some luck, and you got some, admittedly, on Saturday. And so, and then to the fan thing, like the noise and all, like, I think, it's as much on the team as it is the fans. Like, it's a symbiotic relationship, but like, the players owe it to the fans to give them something to yell and scream and be excited about. And unfortunately that hasn't happened, because we all know, we've seen it. The fans have been showing up, like, regardless of if the stadium is kind of quiet or if it is a little, less full than normal. I mean, you still got the best crowd in MLS by far in terms of numbers. And I see, like, Ariel, he said, can we talk about the game being sold out, quote unquote? This is the second time they said it was sold out, but half the seats were empty. So that comes down to the number of tickets sold. That means that tickets are sold out. That doesn't mean that everybody showed up. And a lot of that
was legit.
For sure.
I went
he
to
was
the
definitely sold
website.
out.
There were no official Atlanta United tickets. Everything was resale.
Yeah.
$2 I saw.
Yep.
I checked it right when I walked into the Benz just to see. $2.
Wow.
By the way, shout out to Mark. He hooked me up with free tickets, so appreciate it.
Shout out, Mark.
Yeah.
But it
But,
was
He
good.
got me a free shirt.
No, just going back to the crowds again. So I mean, you look at an average Red Bulls game, you look at them, and they have trouble filling that stadium. I've never been to the stadium. It looks great on TV, but they can't fill it. You look at the Revs, who are out of the playoffs right now. They've had a dreadful season, but even on a good season, they struggle to fill it. And I feel like you can go on and on with examples of markets where, if the team struggles, fans could care less. Granted, Atlanta United have had their struggles with stadiums not being, full. I mean, we've seen it numerous times, like well under 40,000 fans on weekday games. But Atlanta's fortunate to be playing the football they've been playing most of the season, and still fans are turning up to see this team. And like you said, Tyler, it's a symbiotic relationship. The team has to give fans something to cheer about, and granted, they haven't much of the season, but I do applaud the fans that came out on Saturday. They were rewarded with a win, which is what you could ask. All you could ask for. Maybe you didn't control your own destiny on Saturday night, but you did what you had to do personally to give yourself a chance to get into the playoffs on decision day. And we'll talk about a little bit about early impressions about Orlando and just their form coming up. But shout out to the fans. It wasn't like every seat wasn't full like prime Atlanta United, but shout out to those who came out, especially in college football Saturday.
Yeah, that's something too. But shout out to Mascara for creating that red card, right?
Yeah,
I'll take it all day.
Man, ARC players are really good at creating penalties lately, right? And it's the speed.
Yeah.
It's the speed that kills you. And this team hasn't had speed and for such a long time, generally in the starting lineup, right? And you're getting that a little bit. You could see that with Tiare, right? I mean, Tiare, he creates the penalty, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so he creates the speed there. I mean, they know what he's capable of there, and especially he's in the box moving frantically. Like when I see that when I'm playing FIFA, I know the guy's just going to go right around me, and it's going to go in 100% of the time. Like that's pretty much what I think everyone thought he was going to do. So they took him out in the box, and you get the penalty. Like, I mean, the speed, a couple of the guys that do have speed have created issues. And Tiare's got speed, and Mascara's got speed.
Yeah.
And both of them created the two main reasons why they won this game. And that's good to see. Now, I don't know if either one of these guys are going to be on the team next year, but I appreciate what they did there. And, man, I appreciate that Marinchuk pass to Tyler.
That was a beauty.
Yeah. Great pass.
Was that old Atlanta United? Was that an old
that
Atlanta
looked
United pass? Almiron to Joseph Martinez, flying right down the middle. Easy goal.
12man shouted it out on his X.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Like after it happened. So yeah,
it was old school Atlanta United.
Looked like it. Yeah, it did look like it. But yeah, now you have to be Orlando, and we've talked about Orlando already. Just being very much in form, and Tyler and I talked about it during 3 takeaways on Saturday. Atlanta United have had this propensity to play up to the level of their opponents, and hopefully they can do that one last time against an Orlando team that can't lose. I mean, they've won 6 of their last 7. Beat Cincinnati 3-1, which is, Cincinnati have just been in terrible form. Loses for the last 3, and we'll talk about a little bit about that coming up when Editor hops on. But I guess what are you guys' early impressions about?
So hang on, going back to before we move to the next thing, going back to the speed thing. Do you feel like this team has wasted tons of opportunities by trying to play football that just doesn't match up to the players that this team has? I mean, you mentioned Mosquera, right? You mentioned Tiare. You mentioned, Tyler Wolff is no slouch. Tyler Wolff hasn't got a ton of time this year, but you look what he did on that counter, right? He heads up play, he sees the opportunity and makes the run, and he beats his guy. And Saba, another one that consistently is getting in behind people. does it feel like this team has really just should have switched to be a transition football team like 4 months ago?
You have speed. Like, why not? Like, it's not like Jurgen Damm speed. Sorry. But yeah, you have some players that can, make things happen on the wing, can get down the field pretty fast. You don't have it in the spades. Obviously, you're not expecting Brooks Lennon to race down the pitch at like 20 miles per hour or something like that. We need like those NFL next gen stats like they have where they measure like players' speed running the football, like what's his name on Thursday in the Falcons game in overtime. But yeah, you don't really have that in spades. And I think it'd be interesting to see what that looks like in the offseason for Atlanta United. You kind of lean into, okay, let's maybe get some more players that can get down the field quickly and bring back, I guess, what that play looked like for Atlanta in this early days, in this prime when, people were calling them flat track bullies and stuff like that, which, I'm sure MLS fans can argue about that, but they're a fast team. They're a fast team. They could kill you on transition just like that. So I don't know if you lean into that specifically. I feel like Garth is looking for more skilled players, more well-rounded players to kind of adapt to his philosophy. I can't talk of what good football is, and you didn't really see that. I don't think with Seattle to a major extent. Just like those quick players, they're more tactical, more soccer IQ type players. I think so. I think that's what you see. What you'll see under Garth Lagerwey, more of those players. And again, of course, when he talks about the prime age players, that kind of age bracket that he talks about so many times, 24 to 29. So anyone that kind of fits that philosophy, I think, will thrive in the ideal kind of football that Garth Lagerwey wants. Now, that being said, the new coach, whoever that is, it's up to him to kind of tweak that to say, hey, how can we play to the strengths of the players that we have on there? Maybe our faster players, we lean into them or something like that. But that philosophy of this team in 2025 is going to be something to really keep an eye on, I think.
I don't think the team has an identity. I don't think they've had an identity for a while. So I don't know what they play to, right? Like I just don't think a lot. I know that they're trying things, but it doesn't feel like they have like a special way of playing. And if anything, we've been talking about it forever. Just it's a bunch of strangers playing a lot of the time, right? And then there's all of a sudden like it clicks, and they're like, "Oh, there's my best friend over there. Let's play." And then, oh, it's a 70th minute. I know you now. Let's go. And then they start running, and that's what it's felt like. I mean, all season, it's just hasn't felt like watching a in-sync team. I was gonna say professional team, but that's rude. Just a team that knows what they're doing, and you hear all the things, and I don't think it's for the lack of trying, but when you hear what Rob says at every press conference, right? Like before each one, and then it doesn't you don't see anything like that hardly ever translate to the game, and then you hear him afterwards. It's just like, I don't know, like I'm trying here. I'm trying to get them to do things, and they're not doing it. So I understand, his frustration, and shout out to him. I mean, he's called things out the way that he sees it here, and I appreciate that from him on his, I don't want to say on his way out, but he's not going to be the manager next year, right? Yeah. So he's calling these guys out, and it's fair. It's 100% fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's going to be one of the many conversations that Atlanta has to have in the offseason. I mean, they're not set up with, like, at least under Pineda, you had somewhat of an identity, right? You were trying, you tried maybe to your own detriment. Yeah. But you had an identity, and it doesn't seem like right now you kind of know what you want at all times. And that's where the team is at. Team is honestly kind of broken, but they're still alive. They're still alive, and the fans have something to be somewhat excited about going into decision day. So we'll talk about Orlando kind of from both perspectives here in a minute. And a little bit after we get Edgar on, we'll kind of touch on the Atlanta side of it and then the Orlando itself side of it. And dive into it. But Sydney, you have something to talk about too.
Yeah, if you're watching live, and if you're not watching live, it's probably one to play. But if you're watching live, final chance to enter the Camp United sweepstakes presented by American Family Insurance, amfam.com/United. We'll put it in the chat. It'll be in the description as well. Last chance to enter. Get a really VIP experience at the Children's Healthcare Atlanta training ground. There'll be player appearances, the whole 9 yards, custom kits. Sure, you'll get to meet a bunch of great people up there at the training ground. So again, amfam.com/United, absolutely free to enter. It ends today, October 7th. So you have just a few hours to get in and enter the contest, and hopefully you'll win. So again, amfam.com/United, we'll put it in the chat, and it'll also be in the description.
Breck Shea, Kubo, you got them. Rocco's Rios, they're all coming. They're all coming.
The snake that Breck Shea killed when he was in Miami. They're all going to be. It's going to be the greatest.
All these teams are doing these cruises like these teams cruises, and one of my random 2 a.m. high thoughts was like, if Atlanta United did a cruise, like who would, like, you know, because they always have like legends, like who would be on that cruise?
Michael Parkhurst.
Michael Parkhurst.
Jeff.
Yeah, Parkhurst be the captain of the boat. He comes in wearing the captain hat.
If he doesn't do the captain's toast on like the second night, then why did we even go on this cruise in the first place?
If Jurgen Knob's not the entertainment and he's not dancing and recording it for TikTok 24/7, he's not allowed on the boat.
Like, what are we even doing? All the folks from LA, we appreciate it. And Goose, Bro Show saying Goose would have to be there.
Yeah,
that would be
course.
phenomenal. Speaking of LA, our good old pal Edgar is here with us. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Edgar?
What's up, fellas? I'm over here in LA enduring yet another horrible heat wave. Fall came around and we thought to ourselves, hey, finally a reprieve from this like really hot summer. And it was cool for like a few days, and then the summer said, I ain't going away like that so easy. And now we're dealing with triple digits in the Inland Empire. And some of the old fires even came back, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're an LA Galaxy fan like I am, right now you're not thinking about the heat. You're thinking about the playoffs. And not just the playoffs. You're thinking about maybe adding some silverware to that trophy cabinet. It's been a while. And my goodness, what a difference a year makes. I was chit-chatting with some of the guys from NAG earlier this morning, and we're having an argument about who we think should be the MVP, not just for the club, but should be nominated for MVP for MLS. Whereas a year ago, we were just discussing how horrible the franchise was doing and how things had gotten so bad under Chris Klein's management. But yeah, we've come a long way since then. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm a fan of the show, your guys' show, and I've been following you guys for a while, and I've been seeing this weird, steady decline with Atlanta, and I'm like, you guys, where is rock bottom? At which point you guys are gonna start bouncing back? Because it seems like you get some good players, and they hang around for a bit, and then they're gone, and it's like at some point Atlanta's got to get it together, man. Because
I agree.
Kind of weird.
LA Galaxy 2023 gives us some hope.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if Atlanta could turn into something close to LA Galaxy 2024, I think fans will be okay. Fans will be all right.
Yeah. And I heard something similar from the Austin folks, because earlier this season we spoke to the guys from Austin TV, and they were talking about how fans were really upset with Josh Wolff, and people were on the fence about him, and he's gone. Galaxy actually like drove him into extinction,
Wouldn't it?
yeah. So maybe it'll be an
Still
opportunity for their
alive.
franchise to bounce back. But when you talk about Austin FC, you always got to bring Anthony Precourt into the conversation, and he's as rotten to the core as it is. So, my opinion, that franchise gets what it deserves. So there you go.
Well, We're going to dive into that whole Josh Wolff conversation in a little bit. So welcome.
Thank you guys so much, man. I really enjoy coming on with you guys. You guys have a fantastic show, and we always have such a great time talking to you guys, whether it's match related or just talking about whatever,
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. So,
well, I'm glad I'm glad it turned nice, because when he comes in bragging, "Oh, LA, we're adding trophies to the case, all of this," and then Atlanta United.
No, not even.
I'm like, where's he going with this?
No, it's a show of empathy. I mean, I sympathize with you guys. Especially you.
Pity.
No, especially you, because you're a Ducks fan. So I got to show a bit of pity here and there.
Long-suffering Ducks fan.
You won a championship. Get out of here. All right, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, let's move on.
It's my angry moment of the show.
Yeah.
you're allowed at least 2.
So you guys asked about I compiled a bunch of information for you guys regarding LA Galaxy. I mean, just to give you an understanding of how much things have changed for this team over the past 12 to 15 months. So if you guys give me an opportunity, I can share all this with you.
Yeah, for sure. Let's head
Did
on.
you bring a spreadsheet?
Oh yeah, I feel like you've got a.
Well,
spreadsheet.
I mean, I wish I could show you a spreadsheet.
Did you bring a TPS report?
Yes, my TPS reports and a red stapler to go with it too.
Oh man, this guy's legit. Okay.
No, we'll hit on the East Coast real quick, and then
Go for
we're diving into the Galaxy, and you will have all the time you want to let us know. So
Yes, sir.
starting off in the East, I guess to carry on the kind of the conversation we had with Atlanta, we're obviously going to have our entire show Wednesday about Atlanta, but Atlanta plays Orlando on decision day. Orlando is in kind of an annoying form at this point for an Atlanta fan because they're winning. And though we like to say that they're not true rivals because it was manufactured, it still sucks when they win. And what would suck even worse would be for Atlanta to get knocked out by Orlando. So they played Cincy this past weekend. And Orlando, if you looked at the numbers, the betting and all that fun stuff, was actually the underdog, which I didn't really agree with. And I would have put money on that one, and they ended up winning 3-1. So from your perspective, being on the West Coast, being a guy that maybe doesn't pay as much attention to some of the Eastern Conference teams, what do you think of Orlando and, for that matter, Cincy?
Actually, I'm an MLS sicko, and I pay attention to every team. This is who I am. And I remember early on in the season, I'm friends with Mike and some of the fellas from the Orlando Fan TV and Orlando Lions Den, and they were having a full-on meltdown. They had like some kind of Twitter space where they're having like a community meeting with like every fan, and everybody was screaming in high heaven about how horrible they were. The season is over. We're all gonna burn our kids. We're all gonna run down to Disney World and with pitchforks and torches and demand change. And I went on there. I actually came onto their Twitter space and I was like, y'all need to chill, man. I was like, this is so early in the season. I was like, you guys have a pretty good team. You're gonna turn it around. And they were like, no, it's over. We're it's just. And I was like, man, it's like less than a third of the way into the season. You guys are giving up on your club. And wow, how they turned it around. I mean, quality. They have a good team. It's not like they're just gonna crash and burn like out of the blue. It just, some things needed to come together. There were players that were out for international duty. They had some injuries. Who knows what happened in the offseason that some people just needed to get up to speed. But eventually everything started to come together for them. And you look at them now, and it's one of those teams that in MLS, if you get hot right before the playoffs, man, you could go on a deep run. And I can say that from experience, because in 2005, when Galaxy won their second MLS Cup, I remember just 3, maybe 4 weeks before the season ended, I really wasn't thinking, oh, this team is MLS Cup worthy. And then they just got hot. They got into the playoffs, made it all the way to the Cup and won it. So I was like, wow. You never know.
Yeah. So kind of building off that. So if the playoffs were to begin tonight, Orlando would be in that 4-5 game against NYCFC. And NYC are another team who have been in really good form as of late, unbeaten in their past 4. Drew Miami 1-1 on a late goal by James Sands, but since then, 5-1 at Red Bull Arena against the Red Bulls, 3-2 against Cincinnati, and then 3-1 against Nashville. So that's another team that is heating up just a little bit. And I guess the cynic's viewpoint will be in the case of Cincinnati, and certainly in the case of Nashville. Nashville wasn't a playoff team in the first place. Cincinnati have kind of fallen off. So, that's a cynic's view there. But Red Bulls, that's a very significant win at Red Bull Arena against your rival. So, again, Orlando NYC, if the playoffs begin today, where do you see that going? I mean, that's a really strong matchup as it stands right now.
I mean, that's what you want from that 4-5 slot, right? You want a good battle. You don't want to see somebody get completely overwhelmed. You want dramatic footy, right? That you could turn on the Apple TV and say, you know what? I feel entertained, and it's not my club that's playing, so let them have it. But yeah, the Pigeons, they kind of floundered there for a bit, but it seems like they're getting it together. I think maybe it was the news about their new stadium and just getting that buzz around the club again, knowing that they have a future that's not just secured within the 5 boroughs, but it's something really aspiring to look forward to. And you can talk about like, oh, this is only for the fans. No, you can bet this lifts morale across the board, and I'm sure the players feel it as well, because not all these guys are going to be around when the stadium opens, but the ones that are or they're younger, or they're going to be locked in with this club, they know they have something really good to look forward to. And for some reason, when it comes to sports, I've noticed, for as long as I've been alive, there's always been something going on between, whether it's MLB, the NFL, or whatever, between the teams in the state of New York and the teams in Florida. They always have something going on. Whether it's the Bills against the Dolphins, or whether it's like, what's that? The Knicks Bills. And the Heat. What's that?
I was saying go Bills.
Yeah. There's always something going on. The Braves and the Mets, they all just like to hate each other. I mean, not the Braves, I'm sorry, the Marlins. The Marlins and the Mets.
Who cares about the Marlins?
Well, the Braves and the Mets, right? I'm sorry, guys. What I told you, I was going to wear my Dodger gear if the Braves had made it through to the playoffs. But sorry.
Oh, well.
They needed time off.
But going back to that, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Who I think's going to win? Gosh, I don't know. I think Orlando. I'll give them the edge, just because I feel like they're riding that momentum of like, yeah, we were real awful at the start, but now we really got things together. And maybe they have something to prove, because they won that Open Cup last year and they haven't been able to do much this year. And maybe they want to carry that thing where like, we're going to keep bringing in silverware to keep our fans happy.
Yeah. And Sydney, you kind of have Orlando as your dark horse candidate.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 6 of the last 7, like I was saying earlier. They wrap up the season, of course, against Atlanta, so you wonder what their approach will be, especially with the opportunity to clinch a top 4 spot in the East and guarantee themselves home field advantage for at least the first round. So I think that'll be just a driving force for Orlando in that one. But yeah, they've been really untouchable. Their last loss was fairly recently against Columbus 4-3 a few weeks ago. But over the past few months, after Leagues Cup, they've only lost twice since Leagues Cup. And the only other time they failed to get all 3 points was a draw. So they definitely are a dark horse, in my opinion, in the East. I don't think they'll be sneaking up on anybody, least of all Orlando City. So I'd really give them, I'd really favor them against NYC, to be honest with you, just because I feel like the level of opponent they've played versus the level of opponent that NYC have played is just a touch better at this point in time. So I definitely will say Orlando is my favorite in that series, at least for now.
I will say one thing interesting about the Pigeons, and that is that I remember when they played Galaxy earlier this season. It was a home game for LA Galaxy. And going into that game, it was billed as like a high level like matchup, because New York City was doing really good at that point of the season, and we expected a real battle. And I think it was divided. Some people were saying, Galaxy's gonna win. Other people were like, no, the Pigeons are too strong. They're gonna come in there and be all gutta and everything. And in the end, Galaxy completely dominated them from whistle to whistle. And that New York City team, it was kind of disappointing. I mean, from Galaxy point of view, it was like fine. We got the 3 points, right? But from a MLS point of view, I was kind of disappointing because I was like, I really expected a lot more from these guys. But whatever. They can go home and fix things. But it seems they never really recovered from that. They kind of eroded after that. But don't sleep on those Pigeons, man. Like if you're lying on a park bench, next thing you know, you got a bunch of pigeons trying to eat you.
Thought you were going to say something else.
I did too.
No,
I think NYC is, and I might get some hate for this, but I think they're more lucky than good. Which, at the end of the day, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good, right? But
yeah.
I don't know that. To me, they make much of a run. I really don't. I think Orlando is the stronger team, and I know we're like saying it as if it's going to be that matchup, but if it is, I mean, I feel like Orlando's a stronger team, and as an Atlanta fan, to say that pains me much, but that's where we're at.
Yeah,
Tommy, you look like you about to say something.
No, I'm just looking up to see what LA's away record is. They're 4-7-5.
So LA or Orlando?
I'm sorry, New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're better than that.
Eggers got to start fact checking.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, 4-7 away on the road. I don't know. I think of them and say, get out of Yankee Stadium. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, and like the
It's
batter.
the most unique home advantage. Right? I mean, baseball, there's always the weird stadiums that you have, right? Like you always see those posts going, this home run would be a home run in every single stadium except this one. Like you see those things, but take the Yankees out of the stadium and see what happens. I'm going to call them the Yankees.
Mets.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah.
So
That's why that name Pigeons is so appropriate because they don't just stay in one place; they're all over the place. They're playing here, they're playing in Connecticut, Rhode Island.
So I saw Barry Heron's comment about NYCFC. So that depends on the Mets schedule, on the playoff schedule or postseason schedule, I should say. So depending how far the Mets go, hopefully far, that could definitely affect an NYCFC's playoff location, so maybe that's something to definitely take a look at down the road here, depending on how things go.
Wait, so is the backup playoff location the Met Stadium?
Yeah, Citi Field.
Yes.
I hate this league so much.
right? Because you have
Your backup is another baseball field?
You have a
Go find
perfectly
high
good
school.
soccer stadium down the road.
Better that than Pratt and Whitney Stadium, Yukon Stadium up in Connecticut, like Edgar was talking about.
Yeah.
Put them in Madison Square Garden.
You might as well.
Indoor soccer.
The roof's falling in, but whatever.
Freaking New York. All right. So really quick, we'll touch on Cincy. What are they doing wrong? Like what happened in Cincinnati?
Well, the first thing about Cincy is that they had that one player had a horrible accident today. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up real quick because I just want to make sure I get this correct.
It was a car accident,
in case you guys missed it, Marco Angulo is a player for FC Cincinnati. He's been on loan with Liga Deportiva Quito in Ecuador, and he has been hospitalized, according to FC Cincinnati, after an automobile accident in Ecuador, in which at least one person that was in the car died as well. I think there was 3 passengers, and I know at least one of them died, and Angulo's in the ICU, and that's horrible, right? Now here's where it gets really creepy because I did a little digging. The same thing happened. The same exact thing happened to him 2 years ago in Ecuador. Like, oh my God! Like, if he asks you, "Hey, can you give me a ride somewhere?" You're like, no, sorry, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make light of it, but I'm just like, dude, this is some Twilight Zone kind of territory there. Like, or what is that movie? Final Destination? Yeah. It's like, dude, oh my God. But yeah, obviously it's really sad. Hopefully he's able to pull through. FC Cincinnati, like you guys said, they kind of one of those like preseason favorites, and they kind of were there for a while, and then they took that really hard loss to Miami, and damn, they're struggling right now.
They've been decimated by injuries too. I'm trying to pull up what their injury list is, but Miazga is out, Sergio Santos is out, Hagelin is out. So that's 3 of your core guys right there. They have some other players that are injured. Obviously, Celentano's their keeper, but Alec Khan, obviously Atlanta's keeper for a while, is hurt. So there's some issues there behind Celentano. But I think injuries are just starting to catch up with them at the wrong time. And excuse me, if you look at the matchups, they're paired with Charlotte FC, who have been on decent form over the past few weeks here.
Yeah.
And if that ends up being the lineup or the matchup in playoffs, Charlotte have to be licking their chops to really go in against Cincinnati and win what would be their first playoff series in club history.
And I might be wrong, but I think Charlotte plays really good against Cincinnati. They beat them earlier this season at home, and this was during a run of games in which Cincinnati was getting what they call Kalina sheets. That's the name of their goalkeeper. And when I spoke to the guys from CLTFC Fan TV, they were saying that their manager started this thing where for every clean sheet, he would give everybody in the defensive line, including the goalkeeper, a nice bottle of wine. So these guys had like 5 or 6 straight clean sheets, and I'm thinking, my God, these guys either are stocking up this nice little wine cellar, or they're having some really wild, parties, So a bunch of Kalina sheets.
I'll throw this out there real quick. Kalina, I'll just say Kalina, I feel like is my vote for keeper of the year, just for the skill he's shown in net for Charlotte FC. I really think he is. He's on his day, he's unstoppable. He's made some against Atlanta. He made some. Tyler Tommy, you can attest. He made some unbelievable saves to keep Charlotte in it. Obviously, Atlanta won that match at Bank of America, but on his day, you'll find very few keepers that are as good as Christian Kalina, in my opinion.
There's an interesting note I saw on the chat. Batter Herons, maybe you want to bring it up, the last one, which is fascinating because I was unaware about this.
Cincy one.
Cincy has never won a regular season game about Lucho Acosta since he arrived at the club. Wow.
Amazing.
I feel like that was the stat when Joseph Martinez was on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that good. I mean, he was that good, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And now you look at where they are now and say they missed their opportunity last year, right? You were up in the Eastern Conference Championship at home, and you blew it. And it's all downhill from here. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, but those make some of the best stories because you could say, I was there, and I'm drowning my sorrows, but it's a memory that you can look back on if you're a Cincinnati fan, and maybe one day you can overcome that. But it's those really strong memories that really stick to you the most. And as a Galaxy fan, people still ask me to this day, do you remember 96? Yeah, I remember the MLS Cup 96. That still hurts. It still hurts to this day.
Yep.
I get really upset when people ask me about it.
Yeah, 28-3. We get it.
Oh,
Why
God.
would you do that?
Why would you do that? Yeah, I was going to say.
We're in good vibes right now.
All right, guys.
Brought it down.
We just won. We just won on Thursday night. We don't need to hear that. Kirk Cousins was swag surfing.
That was a good win.
Yeah, we don't need to hear about that.
That was my favorite part of the night.
Did you see the post that had the Falcons and New England's stats next to each other? I think it was posted on like CBS or something. And it had the Falcons, 511 yards in one game.
Passing,
and then New England has 400 and something all season.
Poverty franchise. The
commented, and we're like, Patriots. I'm so glad we actually have something good to talk about when comparing these two logos next to each other.
Exactly.
So bad.
That's awesome. I gotta go.
Poverty franchise without Brady, the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jokes.
Hey, but they made the most out of it, right?
Hey, we're on NFL Monday now. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Oh, those Niners. Oh.
Speaking of really good teams and teams that are stacked and have a captain that is really, really big time, I guess.
He's all right.
He's all right, yeah. Miami's one game away from beating the points record, and they play New England on decision day. Can they do it?
It's on the road, right?
I think it is.
Oh man.
So they could rest their starters. Miami could rest their starters, but let's be honest, Miami's bench is probably better than New England starters. So.
Didn't they not start a lot of start? Or did they start?
No,
Yeah,
it's
starters
actually
last
at
game?
home.
Yeah, but they came away with a late win on
Exactly.
on stoppage time. So you know Tata wants it, and again, I don't know if he's going to start a lot of his prime guys on Saturday or decision day, I should say. I really don't, just to make sure that they're fresh for the playoffs. But no, he wants it. He wants that points record, and I feel like again, you kind of joked about it, but you see Barrett Heron saying they'll bring in the starters in the second half. I can definitely see that happening. It could be a 0-0 or something like that in the first half, but then they'll just show the gulf of inequality between the two sides, I think. But I guess, what are your thoughts?
It's really interesting when you think about Inter Miami, because a lot of people, especially detractors, are like they're not as good as people say they are, because without Messi and Suarez, who are these guys? But the truth is that ownership, front office, they did a fantastic job of putting together a really good team. With or without Don Garber's help, they still managed to put together a really good team surrounding Messi and surrounding Suarez and Busquets and Alba. And all four of those guys could be taken away from the roster, and Inter Miami will still be good. You saw Messi was gone for a while, and Suarez was still scoring goals. And that was why and I still kind of believe it. I feel like if the conversation between MLS MVP came down to either Messi or Suarez, I'm going to say Suarez, because Suarez has been there most of the season, and he's been carrying the team and scoring really important goals for them. And Messi comes in, and of course he's good. Of course he's going to get his. But when he was gone, who's going to carry the club? It was Suarez. But overall, I feel like they're yeah, that was my wife. She says thank you. Overall, they're stacked from top to bottom. It's going to be really difficult to beat these guys. And are they going to break the record? Yeah. I'd be shocked if they didn't. Just because if New England does something very New Englandish and they somehow beat Miami, then we can all laugh about it. But it's an opportunity that I'm sure, like you said, Tata and the guys are not gonna want to let go. They're gonna do everything possible to try to etch their names into MLS history. And what a way to further elevate Messi's name. Like Don Garber, wink, wink. Please, he does not need help with statistics and awards and special invitations to the CONCACAF Champions Cup or the FIFA Club World Cup. They're gonna earn it on their own. I think I mentioned earlier, somebody has announced 2 clubs that are going to be in the FIFA Club World Cup: Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami. And I made the distinction. If you were a fan of Game of Thrones, I said one paid the iron price and the other one paid the gold price. And if you know what I'm talking about. Because Seattle, they pretty much sacrificed an entire season to make that happen. They had injuries and they earned it. And if you're an MLS fan and you're not from Cascadia, you were cheering for them the entire way. But when it comes to Miami, hello. When it comes to Miami, a lot of us are like, how good are they with Messi, right? I mean, obviously we like Messi and all. If you're not a Real Madrid fan, you like Messi, right? But now you're starting to see that it's not just him, it's not just Suarez, it's not just Busquets. They're really good, and we were all thinking, oh, maybe Columbus is going to take him down in the playoffs. No. Is it going to be Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Probably not. Orlando, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where it's at. I mean, you've got one team that absolutely, we were kind of talking about it a little bit before you got on, but Atlanta, in their case, back in 2018, was going for the Supporter Shield on decision day and choked. Obviously,
Yeah.
Miami has the Supporters Shield, but now they're going to break that record. And I mean, you never know. It's MLS. You never know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Jump over to the West.
Wait a minute. Hold
What's
on.
up? What's up?
Hold on.
Okay.
Edgar was allowed to
Let's
answer
go.
that question. It was a very long question, but or long answer. But Sydney, can you repeat the question so I can answer it?
Will Miami break the points record?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and we move on.
We appreciate your insight, Tommy.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's just, it's gonna happen. They're playing New England. Okay.
You never know.
No, I know. Okay, I know. When I put
I
my
mean,
beard
Emma-
on the line, there was doubt in my mind. Oh, there was doubt in my mind. But there's certain
Are you going to
matches
put your
you
beard
say,
on the line this time?
Fine. No, I can't. I got plans. No. It's October.
I thought it was a lock.
I need this for a Halloween costume.
But
they're
isn't it
gonna
a
win.
lock? It's a lock, right?
baby. It's the
Right?
don't
Okay,
try
put the
to-
beard on the line. Come on. I'll put my beard on the
the
line.
guests can't
Let's
try
go.
to
Oh,
try to
okay,
trick me
okay.
into things. This isn't how this works. This is
I'll put my beard on the line. My son has not seen me without a beard, so if,
So wait,
if
if
I
Miami
did it-
sets the record, you'll shave your beard?
No. If
So see, that's not. You put your if you want to bet on New England, and I'll bet on that beard versus beard.
But he's saying Miami's going to win.
yeah.
I said Miami was going to win.
Right.
You can
y'all
both
agree.
say Miami's going to win.
I heard his
Yeah.
answer.
There you go.
I think there was just, there was emphasis on what could happen, but he
Yeah.
said from the get-go,
It's
Miami's
not
going to
gonna
win.
Yeah, there's no way.
There you go.
There's
Just
no
putting the
way.
beard on the line right there. You
And
heard
if there's any if they start struggling, like Messi's just they're gonna get them already. Suarez is gonna brush his teeth. Messi's gonna get the pizza, and they'll be out there in seconds.
brush his teeth.
Yeah.
Double beard bet going on. I want to see it happen.
Let's
I'm
do
not
it.
Um,
All right, let's move on, man.
West,
This is what I'm here for. Distractions. You're welcome.
Western Conference. Western Conference. LA at first. LAFC has a very, very, very slim chance of finding a way to catch up to y'all, to the Galaxy. They would need to lose. They would need y'all to lose on decision day, and then they would need to win their next two matches and make up goal differential. So again, mathematically it's possible. Probability, not much there.
What's the goal
But,
differential right now?
20 to 17 in favor of
Yeah,
Galaxy.
Galaxy has 20. LAFC has 17.
So
They win 3-0 in their extra game, right?
I think wins would still be. Well, no, yeah, because
Oh, they'd be level on wins, 19.
What happens?
Um,
What happens, Edgar? What do you think?
Well,
He dreams about this stuff. He knows.
I'm going to tell you something interesting because when we got a chance to look at the schedule, the first thing we did was look at the last game of the season. And once again, Don Garber has put Houston versus LA Galaxy at the end of the season. And you talk to any Galaxy fan that breathes, that has blood pumping through their veins, their arteries, they will tell you, oh, God damn it, it's Houston again. Because Houston has terrorized LA Galaxy on decision day for as long as I can remember. And in fact, I'm bringing it up right now. LA Galaxy's record versus Houston on decision days. Here we go.
Cross your T's.
Galaxy has a really hard time playing against the Texas teams in general. But when it comes to decision day, we always end up with Houston at the end of the season, like I said. And Galaxy has only beaten them twice since 2017
Wow.
on the road. And the last time the Galaxy played them was last year. It was a 3-0 like smashing. And it's something that Galaxy fans always dread, having to play Houston. And they've even come to the dig and they've beaten Galaxy at home. So it's a difficult thing with having to play Houston. So that's why when the Galaxy played against Austin FC over the weekend, a lot of people were saying Austin is feeling really bad right now. They're trash. So Galaxy has to score a bunch of goals against them, and it didn't happen like that. It was a very, very chippy, very aggressive game. There's a lot of hard fouls, and Galaxy ended up winning, but not by the margin a lot of us were hoping for. And so now you do start to like look over your shoulder and be like, okay, LAFC, gotta drop some points here for us to do well. But then again, the pressure is on them as well. They seem to have hit kind of like a snag just a month ago, and it seems that they're finally getting things back together again. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Decision day will be really interesting, and seeing the result on Wednesday, because I think LFC plays on Wednesday, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so what would it mean for Galaxy fans? I mean, obviously disappointment, but let's just say that it were to play out that way.
Like if LAFC leapfrogs the LA Galaxy.
Yeah. Looking into the playoff, what it would mean in the playoff, like for like an actual like tangible difference, other than everybody just being extremely disappointed. Like what would that mean for y'all?
Well, one of the things that LA Galaxy fans have been able to hang their hat on this year is being undefeated at Dignity Health Sports Park. Galaxy, this is one of the things I was going to share with you guys. This season, LA Galaxy was undefeated at home. I mean, a lot of people say, well, what about the Rose Bowl game? Well, that's kind of like an outlier because it's kind of like an exhibition match that's played on the 4th of July at this, what's supposed to be a neutral site, but it's Galaxy's spiritual home. And obviously LAFC won that match, but at Dignity Health Sports Park, Galaxy didn't lose a single match at home. So the importance of having home field advantage is multiplied when you think about what could happen if LA Galaxy has to play like a higher seed. LA Galaxy has had a difficult time playing away at BMO Stadium. So it would be a great time for Galaxy to beat those guys, in the playoffs on the road. But you don't want to get it. You don't want it to get to that point either. You want to make sure that you secure that home field advantage throughout the rest of the playoffs.
So I was looking at, again, potential playoff matches. So LA would be paired up with that 1-8 or that 8-9 winner, which is either Vancouver or Portland. But look at how Portland has been playing. I feel like they'd be the running favorite to beat Vancouver in that match if it does materialize. And then guess who Portland would play in the first round? So I feel like Portland could be, if they had taken care of business earlier in the season, they would have been much better off. But you have a player in Uganda who is a legitimate MLS MVP candidate who has really lifted this team. So how concerned are you about that matchup if it does materialize?
Portland is one of those teams that we've been keeping an eye on over here because the first time I remember seeing them like getting a really good close at Evander was last year's Leagues Cup, and I thought to myself, man, this guy's pretty good. If he has more time playing in MLS, he's going to become a real big threat. And now we saw how Galaxy played against them up at what's the stadium called now? I forget. They're always changing the name of that stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. They had great support up there. But Galaxy had a really difficult time playing against them. It was a midweek game. And I don't know what's up with LA Galaxy. They've been kind of off on some of the midweek games, especially on the road. So maybe it was just they didn't go in there with the right mindset. And Portland just took it to them. And it was just one of those games, right? Where you just look at it and you're like, damn, okay, learning experience. How can we prevent that from happening again? But like I said, Portland, I mean, it's not just Evander. They have a lot of good players on that team. I'm trying to find them real quick.
Cabecita Rodriguez.
Cabecita. They have all these good. It's like they have 3 players on there that can murder you if you let them, and you can't sleep on them. This is why, and I'll bring it up again, and you guys are going to get upset. I brought this up once, and I'm not bad at MLS fans. I feel like we've been hearing all year long. I've been hearing us talk about how the East is stronger, and I feel like no, the West is stronger. Just because all the media, most of the media channels are out there on the East Coast, and you get to watch these guys up close. The West Coast, man, you can't sleep on the West Coast. Every team is out there. I mean, look at all the teams on there. I feel like the Eastern Conference is top heavy. You got those 3 teams at the top, and everybody else is kind of like whatever. But in the West, everybody is fighting. Even the Smurfs are fighting to the end, and they're dead. So But as far as Portland's concerned, yeah, I would rather face Vancouver, to be honest. But it'll be interesting because Vancouver did win the Cascadia Cup in between those three teams up in the Pacific Northwest. And I don't know, Vancouver is interesting. They're like up and they're down. They're up and they're down, and I can't get a good touch on them. Our good friend Nathan Duran, he covers the Whitecaps, and there's times when I talk to him and I'm like, "Yeah, man, you guys are doing really good." He's like, "Yeah, it seems like the team is finally going," and then they lose two really tough matches at home, and then you're like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I don't know." It's this team is just all over the place. So if it's Portland, ooh, that's what you want in playoff football, right? But if it's Vancouver, it's more favorable for LA Galaxy.
Well, let me ask you this, and then and then we'll dive into the one coach that has been fired and talk about that for a minute. But considering what you're saying, right? Like the Eastern Conference started off, and it's been a bit of a dogfight, but like you said, you've had teams kind of break away, and then it's become a dogfight kind of in the middle. While the Western Conference I think it started off a little different, but now you've got a dogfight in the actual playoff positions. As a Galaxy fan, or just a guy that is out there paying attention to the Western Conference, like what is the one team that you just absolutely would not want to see in the playoffs at all? Like, would it be Portland or would it be FC? Like, who would it be?
Well, Portland is one of them because just they recently beat LA Galaxy at home. I mean, at their home, and they have that right there. They have that. But they say, yeah, we took down these guys. We could do it again. We know how to do it. LA Galaxy's defense is it's the one thing where everybody that's a Galaxy fan always has question marks about it because say a year ago, the defense was definitely one of the really worst things about this team. It's like you knew that they were going to bleed a lot of goals. So one of the points of emphasis this season was improving that defense so that the offense would have time to cook and generate some goals and take some of that pressure off of them. But there've been issues with set pieces. There've been issues on counters. There you go. Chewy was saying right there. The Galaxy defense has been some issues. Have had some issues. There's been a lot of movement recently. A lot of people felt like Jalen Neal, a young guy who was on the U.S. national team last year, who is a future U.S. national team star. I feel he's with the LA Galaxy, so a lot of people are really looking forward to him having a big breakout year. But he's actually kind of fallen off over the last couple months, and he's been benched. He's no longer a starter, and now it's a player that we brought in from Colombia named Carlos Emiro Garces. He's the one who's starting for him, and out at left back for LA Galaxy started the season with Julian Aude, a player that came in from Argentina, and which young guy. A lot of people expected a lot of great things from him. He got injured. And then he kind of, when he was out, John Nelson came in. John Nelson, former St. Louis City player, and I remember I spoke to Matt Baker from St. Louis Flyover Footy, and he was talking about how good John Nelson is, how he just needed to have the right person working with him along that flank, and he's the one who's supposed to be working with Joseph Patesil, but. So John Nelson is not the kind of wingback that's going to go up the field and join the offense. He's more of a stay-home guy. But my God, this guy is so solid on that wing that a lot of Galaxy fans, especially us Nag Boys, started calling him The Rock. So John The Rock Nelson, and he liked it so much he tweeted it. I mean, he retweeted it and liked it. So there you go. So the Galaxy defense in the last month or so has kind of undergone a bit of a facelift, trying to fix things. Because they're trying to fine-tune everything as they're going into it. And if any team is going to take advantage of that, it's going to be a team that's really good on set pieces. A team like Portland, for example, would probably do that. Obviously, LAFC is a big one. Earlier this season, we had a midweek preview with the LAFC guys, and we both agreed. And it wasn't just us being all high and mighty. It was just a little pat in the back to each other, like MLS, the run to MLS Cup is going to come through LA one way or another. whether it's LAFC or LA Galaxy. So now it's deciding, who we're gonna face to get there. But out of all the teams in the West, I would say it would be Portland, LAFC, and Seattle in that order.
Yeah.
That makes
Seattle got hot all of a sudden.
Oh, they can't lose.
sense. That's what
Can't
they
lose.
do.
Every year. Zombie
Zombie
Sounders.
Sounders, man. Going back to the joke that was made earlier about zombies, somebody said it like he was not with us anymore, but Josh Wolff in Austin. I'll start off with this.
No,
Why
we're not bringing him on.
Why the fuck?
We are not.
You
No.
don't want to bring Josh Wolff on? No, I'm not asking that.
No, it's an Atlanta United podcast. I figured you might be asking that question, so I was preparing myself.
This is MLS
No,
Monday. This is not the Atlanta United podcast. This is MLS Monday.
We'll save it till Wednesday.
I totally agree. Josh Wolff is not the guy to bring on.
No,
it's
absolutely not.
MLS Monday, but we're also, Atlanta United curious here. So,
Yeah,
and no, we're not bringing him on. No,
I agree with you.
As an assistant?
huh?
As an assistant to the next coach?
I don't think he would come on as an assistant.
Sorry, Tyler,
We'll see.
friend of the show. No,
Do you have PTSD?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring on Miguel Berrien to the show for you. What do you say?
say his
No,
name and he
my
will
question was why? Why do you do this with one game left?
appear. Ooh, can I
Yeah.
answer this?
Yeah, please.
Go for it.
Because I genuinely, I'm curious. Like, I want to know what the thought process would be, and I can't think of a really good one.
I don't think there is a good one, but we've seen this happen before in other sports where the NFL get rid of a guy with a week or two left to go. The team's already out. You get that little sample size of whoever your backup is. But I think a lot of it is their fans are very vocal on social media. I've seen a lot of Austin tweets, and they've been miserable for a while, right? They have not been happy with what's going on here, and they're very upset with ownership. Very upset with ownership there. I don't know how you could hate Matthew McConaughey with that beautiful face, but they're obviously very upset. And I feel that when they do this a week or two early, it's just going, we're listening, fans. We got rid of them early, and you'll remember that. And then, then the season's over, and then people stop caring for a while. I think it's just something just really small that just just throw it in.
I'll throw this in real quick. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram, but several players liked the announcement on Austin FC's Instagram account of his sacking. So that tells you kind of a lot about the minds of the Austin FC players at this point in time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and maybe it's the exact opposite of what I just said. Maybe he did it for the players, right? Just all right, I listen, you guys. We know it hasn't been working out well, and they get rid of it. I mean, it could be both. It could be C, all the above.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things because if you guys didn't get a chance to watch the highlights or maybe even catch the game against Galaxy, things got really ugly at the end there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of hard fouls. Some punches were thrown. There was an issue in which one of the Galaxy players ended up with a cut over his eye, and it was away from the camera. So, there was stuff going on, and so I can only imagine what the atmosphere must have been in that dressing room after the game. A lot of, you have players that you just lost the game, and there were some red cards and a lot of yelling and screaming, and maybe Josh Wolff got into one of his players, and at that point, with all the weight of the season and all that social media buzz going around, maybe it was just that's it. He had enough. And Chewy brings up something interesting regarding Diego Fagundes. Diego Fagundes, if you guys remember, he was in Austin from the very beginning, and he was a fan favorite. When Austin sent him over to the LA Galaxy, it was such a shock to a lot of the Austin fans because here he was, this guy who wasn't just a fan favorite, but he was literally a part of their community. Like, he was somebody who, hold on, I'm having a little bit of camera issues here. He was an important part of their community, and so losing him was a very big deal. And there was an Austin Twitter space which I was privy to, in which they're talking about how upset they were, and a lot of them gathered together at this one bar, restaurant, gastropub in Austin to just get together and kind of share in the misery. And a lot of Austin fans showed up to this. And then lo and behold, who would show up? It was Diego Fagundes. He came to say his goodbyes to the team, to the fans. And it goes to show you how much I loved him. Now, the other side of that was that a lot of people were really upset with Josh Wolff. They said that he was one of those players that Josh Wolff just cannot find a way to use him in his lineup. So he would always ostracize him, and it got to the point where when he got the opportunity to get rid of him, he just did it like that, like no big deal. Bye, you're gone. And so a lot of people, when that happened, a lot of people really got really turned on Josh Wolff, and there was no turning back after that. And it just got worse and worse until even the diehards just said, "That's it, it's enough, no more Wolff, Wolff out."
I think it's one of those situations too. Like they had. I think this would have happened sooner because they had the one good season, right? Like 2022, they were a really good football team, but they weren't good before, and then they haven't been good since. And it just seems like this is one of those teams where, some teams you can say getting a new manager, changing a manager is all you need. And some teams you need more pieces than that. Like it's a cultural rebuild or whatever. Austin just feels like it really just does need the right manager, because it does feel like morale throughout the entire club was just in the toilet. And whether that's from Josh, I don't know, but it just, they've got the fan base, like their atmosphere is off the chain. They've got, at least an ownership group that seems like they care for the most part. So I don't know. I mean, to do it with one game left, like Tommy said, it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of theories here that make sense. But it's, I guess it's just like that comment, dude. Like it was one more freaking week. It's just so odd. But that's where we're at.
When does Austin play the last home game? Isn't it 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, decision day.
I get the decision day.
So they probably were just like, you know what, we're gonna let you go. Go back to Austin, get everything in order, clear your desk. Here's a box, go.
Yeah. And they play Colorado on decision day. Interestingly enough. So
the onus, just real quick, the onus really on Rodolfo Borrell to really make this team his own. I saw Sam Jones write about it in his daily kickoff newsletter, because this is his first kind of true window to really shape the team into this image. Tyler, you talked about 2022. Everyone agrees that Austin outperformed their expectations in 2022. Came back to earth last season, and then 2024 they just bottomed out. So Borrell really has an opportunity to shape the team in this image, really maximize the team's weaknesses and DPs, and bringing in players that can coalesce and really put this team among the top in the Western Conference. Because outside of 2022, where they're one win away from the MLS Cup final, they haven't been to the playoffs. And I'm sure Barrera and certainly Anthony Precourt, hidden figure that he is in MLS, recognize that, want to rectify that.
I have a question for you guys, and I don't want to open up a can of worms and go down this rabbit hole either, but do you guys feel that that 22 team was a fluke, that Austin FC was a fluke, and that this is the real Austin team that we've been seeing this all along?
I mean, it's all about their underlying numbers. Like, their underlying numbers sucked, and they outperformed us. So I feel like this is more, like Austin FC, certainly. Yeah.
I mean, I think ultimately, like, you had some lightning in a bottle that you hit in 2022, but I just don't think they've been performing overall to where they should be. And I think in 2022, that was the one year where, it was a fluke. I think they punched way above their weight, and look, I mean, I had a good season, and you got to take it where it comes, right? Whether it's lucky or not. But I just don't think that what they were doing then was sustainable. I didn't think it then, and I think the 2 years since have kind of proved that it was it was definitely just kind of a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the way they folded against LAFC was impressive too. Because you asked a lot of people, a lot of neutrals about that game going in, and yeah, LAFC had that home advantage, but it was Austin was at that point where it was kind of like 50-50 almost. But the way that LAFC just handled them, it's like, whew.
yeah,
So
yeah, that was crazy. You know, I honestly I expected it months ago, personally.
Yeah.
I never want to see anybody lose a job. We've had that conversation before,
Right.
especially knowing the Wolff family here in Atlanta as well as we do. Like, I never want to see that happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think again, it's a business, and the business was not producing, and I kind of expected this like 3 or 4 months ago.
Right.
So,
Same.
all right,
All right.
Edgar, where can everybody find you and your cohorts?
you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Edgar Nags. And you can find News Across the Galaxy on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, News Across the Galaxy, Nag News on Instagram. Once again, I'm really, really honored to have been here with you guys again. And maybe next year, you guys, the game is here, right? You guys? Oh, no, the game's over there. Maybe I'll get to travel out to Atlanta. My wife has family in Beaufort, so.
Nice.
Hey, come on.
Maybe
Hopefully we'll have that matchup next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be here. Hey, we'll take you to the Waffle House. We would.
Oh my God! Can we bring that up again?
Tommy has a story from the
Oh
other
my
night.
goodness! Oh, let's do that, man! Like,
So good.
be at like with the sun rising at a Waffle House, surrounded by stacks of pancakes, and everybody's passed out around the table. Let's do it.
Not pancakes, waffles.
Yeah, waffles. There you go. Sorry.
I got grilled cheese, and I got a grilled cheese and chocolate milk.
How do you do your
I
hash?
want that right now. What's that?
How do you do your hash browns?
Hashed.
What kind of hash, Tommy?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got normal ones, and then we came back the next day too.
Normal ones. Get out of here.
You're just
Normal
hashed.
ones.
They're just yeah, normal ones.
No,
but my wife gets like all of
smothered.
them, and then like I swear, like if you like when those questions like on a game show, if they said which one of these are not a topping on hash browns, it's like she always is like, I want them covered, smothered.
Mother and cover.
Gathered.
That's
Yeah.
the way to do it.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't know. Like she could just be making up everything. I want a platinum. Like I'd be like, okay, like this makes sense. Now she just says, I'll take it all except I forget which one she gets. But like when she gets chili on it, no. When I travel to Atlanta, I have to get back on an airplane, and my biggest fear in life is pooping on an airplane, and I will never.
God.
I will. Whatever I eat is the day before flying, and that day is all about fly preparation.
Real quick before I go, guys, I just want to give you guys a real quick rundown of some of LA Galaxy stats, just so you guys get an idea of why Galaxy fans are really excited. Like I said, they're undefeated at home, right? They never lost back-to-back games all season long. The only time this ever happened was in 2011 and 2014, which were MLS Cup years. This is the first time an MLS team has had 4 players that have scored 10 goals or more.
That's great.
And then we got Miguel Berry, which is interesting because a lot of people see him as a super sub. And then you look at his statistics. He has, across the entire season, 2 goals and 3 assists. But somehow, some way, he's developed this really like niche but very dedicated following amongst Galaxy fans that have taken to calling him San Miguel Berry, and they have like little pictures of him, like those little Catholic candles with Miguel Berry on them. Yeah,
Is this real?
this is real.
I don't believe you.
I'll show you. I have to.
Hey,
No, we're.
tag it on Twitter because
Right.
I
Yes,
had the
I'll show
Joseph
you on
candle.
Twitter.
We had the Joseph candle. That's what we had.
yeah.
Last year.
There's a Miguel Berry #1 fan account that follows me, and he's. I assume but whoever it is, just constantly like whenever something good Miguel Berry does, which is once every third moon cycle, then I get tagged in it, and I appreciate it.
Comes out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened with that one goal that he scored for Atlanta United out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere.
And then the team blew it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Edgar, we appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Thanks,
We,
man.
you're always welcome. We will be back on Wednesday talking full Atlanta United, getting you guys caught up with all the mathematics involved with how Atlanta can make it into the playoffs, and which is a problem that Edgar does not have. They're in the playoffs.
Already
I'll watch
there.
it scattered and smothered. That's what's up. That's the proper order. Just letting y'all know.
What's
Just want some
scattered?
grit to salt, man.
Did you spread it across the plate?
Yeah, you just throw it on there. No, it's onions and what's the other
Yeah.
thing you add to it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to you now.
What's
we'll look
smothered?
it up.
Huh?
What's smothered? Is that cheese?
Yes.
That might be the cheese. Yeah.
Wait, you guys talking about the hash browns or
The
the
hash
grits?
Yeah, we've gone. This is gonna have to be like a
Oh,
Twitter
because
poll.
man, I want some grits. I don't know why. I want some grits with butter and salt, man.
Hey, I'll make you some real grits. Make
Yeah.
you some real grits. I'm
If-
freaking hungry.
If
I'm getting hungry too.
if Miami does not set the record on this, I will do the next episode at a Waffle House.
Okay.
Okay,
You heard it here first.
Oh, yes.
I like that.
It's like a 25-minute drive for me, but
Let's go, Rebs.
Hey, I'll do it too. I'll do it just for the heck of it. I'll give me some.
Cindy's gonna kill us.
We'll try to work it out.
I'll do
Gotta
it.
Work it out.
And I'm gonna leave my mic on the entire time, and then everybody is gonna hear how I order my hash browns because they're gonna be yelling it in the background.
And for never mind, just never mind. I was gonna say, then what? How many shots Atlanta United gets on goal is how many waffles you have to eat
Oh my god!
while you're there. Don't worry, it'll be 2.
Unless it was this past Saturday.
Yes.
That'd be
Hey,
Well, thank you
still gotta do
everybody
the
for coming to MLS
Sorry, go ahead.
Mondays.
Yeah.
we love you guys.
Hey, we still got to do the hot wings challenge, man.
Yes, we do. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Guess that'll be in the playoffs. Oh wait.
All right, playoffs.
Next.
Get
we'll
him
work
out
it
of
out.
here. I'm gonna hit the remove button now.
Wait, NHL playoffs,
Shut up.
right? Ducks and Kings. You remember the last time that happened?
Nope.
Asking the wrong person.
Oh, hey man. Much love to you guys. Thank
Cheers,
you.
Edgar.
We appreciate it, buddy. Scattered and smothered.
Just
Scattered
making
and
words
smothered.
up.
Animal style.
Good luck.
I'll have them plastered.
I'm pretty sure that's what you were.
I'll have them bruised and broken.
Thursday.
Is that a thing? Bruised and broken?
Yeah, it's an emo song. Sure.
No, I thought that's how you got your hash browns.
Oh,
No.
I was like,
Beat the
Dad, it
hell out of
sounds
the
awesome."
potatoes and then just knife them.
Put some eyeliner on before you
I've
do
been
it.
watching
Right?
way too many horror movies in October.
You're like really in this Halloween.
At
mood.
the end of the thing already. Jeez.
I'm waiting for you guys.